Shalom, is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Sweet Good Torah. We got a good one today. We got Mordehay Darwish of Gates of Mordecai. We're learning Parsha Bechukosai. We're learning about the brachos and the klalos, the blessings and the curses. And it's amazing because we're going to get real insight into the Parsha from the Rambam. It's in his Sefer, the Mishneh Torah. It's in Sefer HaMada, which is the book of knowledge, and it's in the Hilchos of Teshuvah, the halachas of Teshuvah. I believe it's the 9th chapter. We're going to dive right in, take a look at the Rambam. And this is so important today with everything going on in Israel. We got the war, of Israel against Hamas right now. Hezbollah's waiting up there in the north in Lebanon. We got Iran right in Syria, Iran, launching ballistic missiles, drones. So the Jewish people are really under the sword right now, and we need all the help we can get from Hashem. And the more Jewish people are learning Torah, doing mitzvos, we're going to see how we're going to increase our chance with the blessings. And Rambam's going to teach us all the amazing things that happens when we're learning Torah and doing the mitzvot. So let me bring it up on the screen here, and we'll let Rabbi Darwish take it away here and teach us what's happening in the Rambam. All right. You want to start?
מאחר שנודע שמתן שכרן של מצוות והטובה שנזכה לה אם שמרנו דרך השם, so after it's known that that the reward that we're going to get for keeping the Torah and following the ways of God, הכתובה בתורה, that's written in the Torah, היא חיי העולם הבא, that's life in the next world, right? As it says, למען ייטב לך וארכת ימים, it'll give you good and you'll have a long life. והנקמה שנוקמים, and like the revenge that's taken against the person, retribution, right? Mina reshaim, the people who are evil, shazvu or chot tzedek, that left the ways of righteousness, aktuvot b'Torah, that are written in the Torah, hi karet. That's the kari's punishment, meaning like they don't get the next world. Shenema hi karet tikaret hanefesh ha'i avona ba. Right, that soul will be cut off, and because they did evil deeds. Okay,
let's break this down a little bit because there's some really deep ideas here.
Okay.
One thing that's very interesting, like Rambam's calling it like the life or the reward for doing the mitzvos, and he calls it like hatova, but it's also like gemilas chasadim, like just doing kind things for people, doing good, and there's a great reward for that, and the reward is olam haba. And he brings proof. He brings proof from Devarim, from Deuteronomy. Laman yitav lach.
Right.
Yamim. Like, in order that good will be given to you, and you will live long. You will live a long life. All right, what do you got? How do you want to unpack it?
No, so it's very simple. It's like people think, again, he's going to get into it, but they think that the reward is only like a goodly reward. So like, if you're righteous, then you're going to get good. If you're evil, you're going to get bad. And so, like the simple question is who in the right mind would be bad? If you got smacked every time you did something wrong, right, and you got rewarded every time you did something right, like where would be the test? You would always, you'd be silly to do something bad, right?
Yeah. So we'll dive in further, but right, we have Bechira, we have free will. So Hashem, he doesn't want to make it so obvious. Like if people would just like, do a mitzvah and then like gold's raining down from the sky, or they do an avera, they transgress the Torah and they get struck by lightning, then no one would ever do anything but mitzvahs. If it was so obvious, like a video game, like the bonus round, but he gives everyone a choice. Hashem gives everyone bechira, he gives everyone free will. Like everyone gets to decide what they want to do in this world.
Yeah. One more thing to point out is that also that Rambam's telling us clearly here that there's two worlds, right? There's this world and then there's a continuation, meaning like, it doesn't end in the grave. You keep going.
Yeah. No, and I think the world to come is a very important concept because, I think a lot of people have this other idea from this other religion that there's kind of like, life on earth and then there's like life in heaven. But the Torah is really saying something really different. It's like olam hazeh, like this world. We're living in this world now on earth. But the world that's coming, not only is it coming in the future, but I think one of the big concepts is it's coming to this world. like we're going to change like Olam Hazeh into Olam Haba by bringing the Ruchnius into the physical world. Olam Haba is still life on earth. We don't just go, and all live in heaven. We bring heaven down to earth. And I think that's a very big, important point. Yeah, I see you shaking your head.
Okay. Yeah. I'm saying in the simplest
Yeah.
reading
Okay.
is that there's a continuation. After you live out your life in this world, you're going to continue living in the next realm,
Okay.
sort of. Okay.
Okay. So let me bring it back up on the screen here, and we'll continue on. Okay.
אוקיי. מהו שזה שכתוב בכל התורה כולה, אם תשמעו יגיע לכם כך. All right, so then what's this in the Torah that it's written that if you listen to what I tell you, you'll receive such. ואם לא תשמעו, and if you don't listen, יקרה אתכם כך, and such will happen to you. וכל אותן הדברים בעולם הזה. All those things that are listed are worldly, in this world things. Okay, he's gonna continue to say, for example, keep going. Sova v'rav, cessation and hunger, umilchama v'shalom, war and peace, umalchut v'shiflut, kingship and slavery, so to speak, v'yeshivat haaretz, and living in Israel, v'galut, and living in the exile, v'atzlachat ma'aseh, and succeeding in your deeds, your business pursuits, ve'efsedo, and or losing them, ushar kol divrei habrit, and all the other things that are stated in the covenant that we have with God.
Yeah, I mean, it's really incredible, right? So he's really like Rambam's really defining, like, what is this bris? Like, what is this covenant between the Jewish people and Hashem? And it's really interesting. He's saying like a lot of things we don't really think of life in this way, but like saying like if there's great like economic boom, like if the economy's really soaring, or if Chas v'Shalom there's like a depression and famine, or war or peace, like what's going on now in Israel, like the Jewish people are in a state of war. Or like, are we being ruled over by the other nations, which Hashem's really shown that we really are. We are really in gullus. We're really in exile. Or Bezrat Hashem in the days of Mashiach, where we rule over other nations, where other nations come to us, like for the material plenty and the economy's booming, and they come for the wisdom of the Torah. Not just telling us like, oh, don't hurt the poor terrorists, but like, no, we want to learn Torah from you, like a different, and the settlement of the land or exile, like, will the land truly be given to us? Like each Jewish family really have a whole portion, like massive acreage, like their own estate in the land of Israel. It's not the way it is yet. Really success in everything we're doing or not. It's incredible, like how he's defining it all.
Okay, so כל אותן הדברים אמת, all those things are true. ואם היו, אמת, היו, ויהיו בזמן שאנו עושים כל מצוות התורה. They're true, and they were, and they will be, all as long as we keep all the commandments of the Torah. יגיע אלינו טובות העולם הזה כולן. Will receive all the goodness in this world. ובזמן שאנו עוברים עליהם, and when we transgress the Torah, תקראנה אותנו הרעות הכתובות. We'll receive all the evils that are written. ואף על פי כן, even so, אין אותן הטובות הם סוף מתן שכרן של מצוות. These good things that are written are not the end result of the end reward for keeping the commandments. ולא אותן הרעות הם סוף הנקמה, שנוקמים מעובר כל המצוות. And all those evils that are written in the Torah are not the end justice that happens to people who transgress the Torah.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's a very interesting idea.
Okay, so he's saying again, we're gonna make the divide.
Yeah.
What's the difference with why it's written and all that?
Yeah.
This is how we're gonna categorize these things. הקדוש ברוך הוא נתן לנו תורה, זו עץ חיים היא. The blessed one be, he gave us the Torah, and this is the tree of life. right? Adam and Eve were supposed to eat from the tree of life, and they ate from the tree of good and evil, right?
Yeah.
So we're our Torah is the tree of life. V'kol ha'oseh kol ha'katuv ba, and anyone who does everything that's written in it, v'yoda'eh da'a gemura, and he knows it a perfect knowledge, nechona, correct, zoche ba lechayei olam haba, right? Is rewarded with life in the next world. Okay, so it's not just the keeping of the Torah; it's also knowing it in a correct manner, and in a full and correct manner.
I mean, what the Rambam's saying here, it really gives us like so much like insight into like what was happening with Adam and Chava, like what was happening with Adam and Eve, like choosing from the tree of knowledge versus the tree of life. And it's really like the same battle every generation of mankind, every person is going through this battle. Do we perceive the world through the tree of life, through the lens of the Torah? Or do we perceive it through, the tree of knowledge? Do we perceive it through the lens of science or politics or, whatever other like chachma or wisdom is out there? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the real battle. That's the real battle, if you want to say it, or the real choice of all of history, like all of human history.
Yeah. How are you going to see? You're going to see a first cause, or are you going
Yeah.
to see, the relative causes?
Yeah.
And according to the greatness of your deeds, and the abundance of your wisdom, a person merits. Okay, so many deeds and abundance of wisdom. So it's not just important to do; it's also important to know.
Mm.
And we promise in the Torah, if we do it with joy and happiness, v'tovat nefesh, and with a good soul,
Mm.
and we'll delve into its wisdom, tamid, all the time. She'asir mimenu, God will take away from us kol hadvarim hamonim otanu melasota, all the
Mm.
things that trouble us from keeping it.
Mm.
Kegon, for example, choli, sickness, umilchama, and war, v'rav, and hunger, v'kayotze bain, and all these things, right? So basically, like sickness and war and hunger are things that occupy our time, and we won't be able to be occupied in keeping the commandments and learning the wisdom of the Torah,
Mm.
right? So those things are just impediments, and so if we keep the Torah with a happy and joyful manner, and all of it, then God promises to take these things away from us, meaning like give them to us, give us health and give us peace and give us prosperity. So
Yeah.
we'll have time to actually do what we need to do.
I mean,
Like
it's such a
company.
powerful, different perception of the world. Like the Rambam saying, like, right, if we really have real simcha, real joy learning Torah and just thinking about Torah all the time, then Hashem's going to move. He's just going to remove that. The brachas is just removing everything that's getting in our way. You don't have time to be sick. I don't want you to be sick. I don't want you to have to fight a war. I don't want you to have poverty or anything. I want you to spend all your days just like happily like learning the Torah and doing the mitzvos. It's amazing, just amazing
Right,
different perception of the
like a
world.
loving
Yeah.
father, like a loving father. Just do what
Yeah.
I'd say, and
Yeah.
I'll hook you up, and I want to
Yeah.
hook you up. I want to give you the perks of the company.
Yeah, no, it's a great mushal, like the billionaire father. Like if the children are really doing good and really doing the right things, it's like the father's like, I'll give you one of the other homes, I'll give you one of the other mansions, I'll give you the boats, the planes, the cars, the food, whatever you need to keep doing what you're doing because you're doing great. You're doing a good job.
Right. והשפיע לנו כל הטובות המחזיקות את ידינו, and it'll keep giving us these goodness that strengthen our hands, לעשות התורה, to keep the Torah, כגון סובה ושלום, like satiation and peace, וריבוי כסף, and lots of money, וזהב, more correct, silver and gold, okay? כדי שלא נעסוק כל ימינו בדברים שהגוף צריך להם. So we don't spend all our days in matters that the body needs. אלא נשב פנויים ללמוד בחוכמה. We'll be free to sit and learn the wisdom ולעשות המצווה and to keep the commandments כדי שנזכה לחיים הבא, in order that we merit the next world, living in the next world. Okay, וכן הוא אומר, and so it's written, בתורה, in the Torah, אחר שהבטיח הטובות לעולם הזה, after God promised all the goodness in this world, וצדקה תהיה לנו, and it'll be a merit for us, a benefit for us in the next world. וגומר. וכן הודיענו בתורה, and so he let us know in the Torah, שאם נעזוב, if we leave the Torah, midat, from knowledge, that, we knew what we were doing, v'nasok be'avlei hazman, and we will be occupied in, the vanities of this world.
Right, there's a lot of distractions.
The vanities of time, the distractions of time. Kinyan shene'emar, as it's written, vayishman Yeshurun vayivat, and Yeshurun, reference to Jewish people, became fat and they kicked. Right, when you only kick when you have the strength to kick, right? So when you're fat, you have food, you have the strength to kick. So that's what happened. Shedayan emet, the truthful judge, which is God, yesir mina ozvim kol tovot haolam hazeh. He'll take from the people who leave him all the goodness of this world. Shehen chisku yedehen livot, that they gave power to their hands to kick.
If we just stop there for one second, okay, I think like that is such an amazing insight. I've often wondered about this. Like what has happened in America? Like what has been the challenges of the Jewish people here? And the Rambam is really giving us like a tremendous insight because we're not being persecuted like we were in Europe. It's not pogroms, like the villagers aren't out, coming into, the Jewish communities, like having the pogroms here. We've had the freedom of religion, but yet it seems like really like unfortunately like large numbers of Jewish people really just became massively assimilated and really kind of in some ways like left like the yeshiva or weren't involved with it, but it seems like our religious level has really gone down in America, and I think that's the danger. That was the danger, like Rambam saying, the danger of having all the wealth, having the peace around us, like not the constant pogroms. And it was unfortunately, it was a little bit of like Yeshurun, Vayishman, Yeshurun, Vayifat, and unfortunately a little bit like all the wealth we acquired here in America. Unfortunately, it's that difficult challenge that King Solomon talked about. When a person becomes too wealthy, Chas v'shalom, they feel like they don't need Hashem. And I think that's been the real danger that we've been battling here in America in a lot of ways.
Right. So what do they lose out? They lose out in the next world, right? Because they're chasing the vanities of this world. Okay.
It's really scaring me about Netflix and chill now. Now I got a year about Netflix and chill. Oh gosh. It's getting real. It's getting
a
real.
Lot of things that waste our time, right? And right. So God takes away these things that helped us kick against Him. And He brings upon a person all the evils that prohibit him from attaining the next world. That they'll be lost in their wickedness. This was written in the Torah. And this was written in the Torah because you didn't serve Hashem, and it says with happiness and a good countenance. And you will serve your enemies, which Hashem will send you. And I think this is the point we wanted to hit on with all the wars that are going on in the world right now, right?
Yeah,
who brings the enemies? Who brings the enemies, right? Like who makes them decide one day, all right, let's attack today. As we know that Hamas weren't planning to attack when they attacked, right? They fired a little too soon. They were a little too trigger happy. So who brought them and why did He bring them?
No, I mean it's so powerful. Like v'avadta es oiveka, like you're gonna serve your enemies. I mean, it's crazy. Like Hamas did this brutal massacre like we haven't seen since World War II, like a Nazi level atrocity. And the world is like, no, you got to bring them food and you got to bring them water and you have to make sure they have enough electricity and you have to push them out of the way, even if you can't rescue your own hostages. Your hostages aren't important. It's the people that attacked you are important. the people that are the terrorists and their families, they're important. You have to feed them and make sure they're safe and cozy. You serve them. I mean, this is so scary. Like we are serving the terrorists that massacred, the Jewish people. It's so like, yeah.
Right. And then what are you doing? You're wasting your time. You're wasting your energy, your resources.
Mm,
Instead of acquiring the next world, you're dealing with a problem that God sent that problem.
mm,
Okay. There's an orchestrator. Okay. Nimtza perush kolotan abrachot, and so it's found that the explanation of all the blessings, v'aklalot, and the curses al derech zu, in this manner. Klomar, im avatem et Hashem besimcha, if you serve God with happiness, ushmartem darko, and you keep His ways, mashpia lachem abrachot, He will give you the blessings. Ha'elu umarchik aklalot, and He keeps the curses at bay, keeps them away from you. Mikem ad shetiyu pnuim litchakem batorah, right? In order that you should be free to grow in wisdom of the Torah, velasokba, and to be involved in it, meaning keeping the commandments. Kadesh tisku lecheolem haba, in order that you merit the next world. Ve'itav lach laolam shekulo tov, and He'll give you goodness in a world that is all goodness, right? As we know, like the next world doesn't end; it goes on for ever and ever. Ve'tarich yamin laolam shekulo aroch, and you will have many days in the world is all long.
mm.
V'nimtzetem, right? Because we live for forever and ever. V'nimtzetem zochim lishnei alamot, and you will be a person who merits both worlds, meaning you'll have everything you need in this world, and you'll have the goodness that's waiting for you in the next world. L'chaim tovim ba'olam hazeh mevi'im l'chayom haba. You have a goodness in this world, which will bring you to the goodness in the next world. I think this is very important because people are going to spend their times chasing these good things, right? Making a good living, or so they can get good things, and they can buy good health, and buy good experiences and all that stuff, and even buy their ways out of wars, right? And the like. And then they're wasting their time, right? It's futile because the world isn't designed that way. But eventually, people figure that out. Sometimes when it's too late.
I think it's funny. Like what's coming to my mind is like Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock from Star Trek, and he took like half of the blessing of the Kohanim, so he did like the live long and prosper. But like Hashem's Hashem's saying, just enjoy my Torah, be happy, learn Torah, just do the lovely mitzvos, do the beautiful mitzvos, have a nice Shabbos meal, have a nice meal on Yom Tov, and guess what you're going to get? You're going to get long life. You're going to live long and prosper. You're going to live long not only in this world and prosper in this world, but you're going to prosper and live long and even longer, and prosper even more in the world to come. I just let Leonard Nimoy, he's just stuck with me right now, Mr. Spock. But beautiful. I mean, just beautiful what the Rambam saying. Just incredible stuff.
Amazing, right? And what is the Yitzhar? What's the evil of this world trying? The devil trying to get us to do is we spend our time, waste our time with the distractions of this world.
Just all the distractions. Yeah,
and then we miss out on both this world and the next world.
Yeah.
Okay. She'im lo yikne po chokhmah, right? If a person doesn't acquire wisdom here, umasim tovim, and good deeds, right? And lo b'ma yiskei, he doesn't have with what to merit, right? These are tickets to the next world. Shenemar ki ein ma'aseh v'cheshbon v'dat v'chokhmah b'sheol. So there's no accounting and actions and knowledge, wisdom in the grave.
Mm.
Okay, so we gotta do it before our time's up here.
Yeah.
When it's up, it's up. That final buzzer rings.
No, it's like, I mean, if we use the muscle of sports, like you got a certain amount of time to get it done, and you got to get it done in that time. If you want to win, if you want to be victorious, you got to get it done when it counts. You got, and at the end, you got to be, you got to have more points, you got to have more mitzvos than Averis. You want to win the game? You want to be an Olam Haba, you want to be good in this world, let's win the game while we have the time, while we have life, while we have Chaim.
Exactly. V'im azachtem et Hashem, and if you leave God, v'shigitim b'machal, and you wasted your time with food, uv'mishteh, and drink, uznut, and sexual relations, v'dome, and any of the likes of sorts, lahem, mevi alechem kol hakalot. He'll bring upon you all the curses, all these curses, umesir kol habrachot. He takes away all the blessings. And so that you waste your days behala, right, in futility, upachad, and the fear. Velo yeh lachem lev panui. You won't have an open heart. Velo guf shalem, and not a sound and strong body. La'asot mitzvot, to keep the commandments. Kedei shetovdu mechayei olam haba, in order that you lose out of the next world. V'nimsa sheibadtem shnei olamot. And what happens is you lose out both worlds, right? All the sicknesses that come, right? Mainly, the Rambam says in his other books that it comes from eating too much or having too much sexual relations, or
and then just to clarify, it's like we're not talking about the kedusha. We're not talking about the physical relationships between a man and his wife in marriage. It's all the outside relationships, the prohibited, right? The prohibited relationships, right? Everything the Torah is like prohibiting. It's all those relationships that,
right, the forbidden foods, the too much eating, the wrong things and that kind of stuff. And so that will bring on the sicknesses, and the sicknesses will cause you to spend your time in doctors' offices and with medicines and all the evils that this world has to offer, and then you miss out on the next world. Okay. When a person is busy, with this world, becholi, with sickness, or war, as there are in Israel right now, and hunger, right? Poor people, we see them, littered in our streets.
Yeah, and unfortunately, right, there's so many homeless people. We see it, but we see in this nation of like so much like economic, plenty, and we see people starving, just starving, no home. It's crazy.
Crazy, right? Ravon, a person, is busy with all this. He doesn't busy himself with wisdom, mitzvot, and not the commandments. And it's through them that a person earns the next world.
Wow, there's just so much to break down there. Right. So so it's really interesting. So it's a very different perspective on the brachos and the klalos. I have seen like the Memshech Chachma recently. I saw a little translation of some of it. And he was saying like really like the reason for the klalos is like the Jewish people, like, we have this very important role. We need to learn Torah and do the mitzvot to show the world, to be the Or LaGoyim, to be the light to the nations. And if we're not doing our job, chas v'shalom, Hashem will push us back. He'll push us back with these klalos,
Well, yeah, that too, like we have a national mission. The Rambam was speaking on a personal mission.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it's true. It's true on a micro level and on a macro level.
Yeah. Yeah. No, right. It's interesting. Like, right. I mean, I think a great mashal, like, right. He is really talking like to each individual person. Like it's each individual's person free will to learn the Torah. Chas v'shalom, just get lost in all the distractions. And he's saying in his way, it's almost like he's saying that, like, right, if you're not doing anything important, like, like if this person's just like, let's say a person's extremely wealthy. Hashem gave this person, a tremendous amount of wealth, billions of dollars. And he's just taking his private jet and he's just like flying around the world, looking for the best gourmet food or like chas v'shalom, like some kind of immorality, or just like, the best alcohols or wines or whatever. Like, what does this person, chas v'shalom, what does he need health for? What does he need peace for? What does he need, all the good for us? So we're down to our last 10 minutes here. So we don't. In this world,
that's a lot of time. That's like that's a quarter.
No, it's a lot of Torah, a lot of. But I'm saying in this world, you don't get the upgrade. you get the 10-minute warning. But yeah. One thing I saw. Okay, I'm sorry. You go.
No, I was gonna say that I think that like if you analyze, you know, people's talking points, the things that people fight about, the things that people give people anxiety, keep people worrying, and all that stuff, is they don't really know the game. They don't really understand what life's all about, what their meaning is, right? This is the meaning of the creator. The creator created the game, right? He created the rules of the game, and he created the reward for the game. Now you can make yourself your life very simple and very joyous and happy just
Yeah,
by going along. But when you try to fight and say no, it's not the game, and who said it's the game, and who said he's the creator, and who said this and who's that, that's when you start with all like listen to man and listen to all the people that bring upon the depression and the anxiety and the wars and all the problems that are happening in the world.
yeah,
The Rambam says in his Moreh Nevuchim, the guide to the perplexed, that all the wars will end when the knowledge of God increases in the world.
yeah.
Okay, it's the lack of knowledge that brings upon strife between men.
Right. I mean, right. If everyone saw clearly that there's only one infinite being, right? There's nothing else. There's just one infinite being, and we all see that clearly. Everything's coming, all of life, all bruck, all blessing, like everything's growing, like everything's coming from that one infinite being. And then there's an infinite being. So there's no finite supplies. He can give everyone exactly what they need. So there's no need to fight anymore, right? There's no need, if the whole world's like, connected to Hashem and following the Torah, right? There's no need for war. There's no need for sickness. There's no need even anymore for death, which is interesting. There's no need for mavis.
So, so
Um,
that's what our forefather Yaakov Israel said. He said that just give me bread to eat and clothes to wear, and I'll be okay. That's all I need: bread and clothes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, one thing, like one thing I've had a hard time with, like when we were at Asia Torah together, and like I got this opportunity from Hashem to go over to the old city of Jerusalem and learn Torah and experience Shabbos. And I think one thing that's been really frustrating for me is to try to like communicate or try to share it with other people because it's hard to communicate like how amazing Shabbos is, right? Oh, you should,
Yeah,
but it's like you get this Yetzer Hara. You're like, not me, man. I'm not religious. You do that. It's like it's so hard to like just try to. It's like you should, if you could just try, just learn a little. But you build up, right? The Parsha also talks about in the Midrashim. Unfortunately, there's like I think there's 7 levels. I forgot the exact amount of steps. But as a person like stops learning Torah, then you start to go down these steps, and then eventually you start to get to the point where like you don't even want anyone else to do the Torah, the mitzvahs. It gets scary. You start to go down all these levels of spiritual,
misery loves company.
yeah. No, it's really so it's a weird, so like all the Jewish people were all in like these different levels of like understanding of the Torah. That's what I really see it though, is I really see what Rambam's saying. Like it's not that we really have any major differences. We have different levels of understanding the Torah. And so we're looking at it. It's like, the classic mushal of like the blind man looking at the elephant. And there's very few of us that are like the total Talmid Chacham that sees the whole. All of us see a little bit. We see a little portion of it, but very few of us see the whole. But that's why it's so, when we have a Moshe Rabbeinu, we have a Moses, or the great Gedolim of all the generations, like a Rashi or a Vilna Gaon, or someone that sees the whole picture, and they can communicate to us the whole picture and see it through their eyes, see it from their perception.
Right. I tell people that all the time when they come to learn. I'm like, don't bring your secular eyes into the Torah. Try to understand from the Torah's perspective, and you'll only be able to do that is if you have someone teaching you. You have a rabbi, you have somebody who's seen the Torah, or you learn from the books that of the people who looked at the whole thing and knew everything, like a book like Derech Hashem,
Mm.
Chavot HaLevavos, the duties of the heart, the ways of God, the ways of the tzaddikim, and you see a complete view of the Torah, and then you start like thinking like them and viewing the Torah from its perspective. And also, like you said, until you taste it for yourself, you're not going to know. Like I can't convey to you how amazing it is, right? I
I,
can,
yeah,
you can look at me and you can see me, you either see me struggling, right? And you're like, oh, I don't want that. Or you can see me smiling and you're like, oh, what's he got?
yeah,
But like David Amelech, King David said, Tamu Riu Kitov, taste and see how good it is.
yeah,
Right? Until you taste it, no one in the you can't describe the way something tastes to somebody. Oh, it's a little sweet, it's a little sour, it's a little this, it's a little that. Like you can't. You just got to put it in your mouth, let the taste buds hit it and feel the sensation.
that gave me an interesting idea that like Mashiach, in some sense, he's going to be like the ultimate Torah influencer. All of a sudden you have a melech, you have a king, and he's rich and he's famous and he's like living in a beautiful palace. And then the way the influencers work, it's like people are like, oh, I want to try that. Wait, he's having a Shabbos meal, right? But that's the whole thing that's missing. It's just like but it's like you're saying too. It's like you can talk and give all these beautiful like words of the Torah of how amazing Shabbos is, but until a person takes a step back, sit down with that Shabbos meal, turn off the phone, turn off the computer, unplug the internet, and actually feel the manucha, feel the relaxation. And even frum people, even religious people, sometimes they're not fully in it, but you have to really take a
That's
step
what the
back.
Rambam
Yeah,
said.
yeah,
That's exactly
yeah,
what the Rambam said. Like
yeah,
if you do all the commandments, you'll get the next world, but you
yeah,
won't have this world. Like you have to do it with happiness and joy.
yeah,
Because if you do all the commandments and you do it begrudgingly, you'll get the next world. You'll get
yeah,
rewarded for it, but
yeah.
you're not gonna have this world.
Yeah. But it's really for everyone. It's like just really when we really take a step back and or when when we put like our heart and soul into it, when we just do it with simcha, it's like we all get excited. There's all things during life that people get excited about. You know, like sometimes people in the sports, like, oh, my team's in the World Series and the Super Bowl, and you start planning your Super Bowl party for weeks, 2 weeks, but that's Shabbos. Plan your Shabbos party all week. Your week is planned. You have a party every week, 52 parties, a year. Take your week and make your week learning the Parsha, learning, the Daf Yomi, just preparing for that Shabbos, buying all these amazing food you're excited about. And if your week is preparing for Shabbos, then your Shabbos is the ultimate party, right? Then it's the ultimate party. Yeah.
And,
All
that,
right,
and
we're down.
that's and that's what the Torah says. It says Shabbos is 1/60th of the next world.
Yeah.
So imagine if you're having a party and magnified by 60, it's an amazing party.
I mean,
Right?
Hashem's giving us the sneak preview. It's like you want to go to the big feature film, the big movie. Here's the sneak preview. Get a taste of it. Get a taste of it while you're in this world. We're under 2 minutes. We're down to the 2 minute warning. Any big takeaways? I mean, it's so much. I mean, so deep, like what the Rambam's saying. It's kind of just have to like really just think about it.
Well,
But
that's why I
just
think it's very important to like just not see the Torah, but see it from our sages' point of view, meaning like our teachers, right? Because the Torah was passed down. It was passed down from Moshe to Yeshua, the elders, the prophets, the men of the great assembly,
yeah.
right? And they were the Tanaim, right? Then the Moraim, and then every generation had their rabbis until we get to our generation. And the people who came before us, they're the ones who can help us view the Torah and what it says in the correct view and the correct understanding of it.
All right, we're less than a minute. So yeah, I think it's beautiful. It's like so we could we're adding our own little part, like maybe the digital Matsura. We're in the chain, hopefully, of the Torah transmission. But we can say it. But get out there, learn Torah, do mitzvahs, experience Shabbos, and we're going to see the amazing blessings in this world.
Oh man.
All right, so we'll see you guys again soon on Sweet and Good Torah and the Gates of Mordecai.